Hello and welcome to Nltv. This is your anchor Rovinyo Lama and you're watching Nltv News Now. Now headlines. Hundreds and thousands have reportedly killed in the Russian invasion of Ukraine, while Ukraine claims that killing over 1,000 Russian troops. Russian hit back, saying its troops have knocked out 211 military infrastructure facilities in Ukraine. India on Saturday abstained on a US-sponsored United Nations Security Council resolution on Russia's aggression against Ukraine. New Delhi says dialogue is the only answer to settling differences and disputes. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has turned down the US government offer to evacuate the country as invading Russia forces close in on Kyiv. After US asked the Ukrainian president to leave his country, an unbeat Zelensky replied he needs ammunition, not a right. Four Air India flights Romania and Hungary to fly back Indians who are being taken there by a road from Ukraine. The move to evacuate India through the western borders of Ukraine follows assurance from Russia President Putin to Prime Minister Narendra Modi that Russian forces have been instructed to ensure their safety. President Ramnath Kovind, on his day 2 of visiting Assam, addresses 19th convocation of Tezpur University, slated to visit the Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve and take a jeep safari at the Bagori Range. The news in details. Hundreds and thousands have reportedly been killed in the Russia invasion of Ukraine, while Ukraine claimed that its army killed over 1,000 Russian troops. The Russian Ministry of Defense said its troops have knocked out 211 military infrastructure facilities in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Russia has claimed that Russian armed forces established full control over Ukraine's Melitopol. Ukraine soldiers repulsed a Russian attack in the capital only hours after President Volodymyr Zelensky warned that Moscow would attempt to take Kyiv before dawn. In another significant development, Russia has suspended space launches from French Guiana after US and NATO allies imposed punitive sanctions on it for invading Ukraine. Earlier, President Joe Biden had said Russia's space program will degrade under new US sanctions. The Russia-Ukraine crisis depends as Russian missiles pounded Kyiv following a declaration of war by Russia. India on Saturday abstained on a US-sponsored United Nations Security Council resolution that deplores in the strongest terms Russia's aggression against Ukraine, with New Delhi saying dialogue is the only answer to settling differences and disputes and voicing regret that a part of diplomacy was given up. Explaining its vote, India's permanent representative at the UN, T.S. Tirumurti, said that India is deeply disturbed by the recent turn of development in Ukraine. He further said that India also urges that all efforts are made for the immediate cessation of violence and hostilities. Meanwhile, Russia on Friday vetoed a UN Security Council resolution that deplored in the strongest terms the country's aggression against Ukraine. The resolution had also demanded the immediate withdrawal of its troops. 11 of the Council, 15 members voted in favor of the motion. China, India and the UAE abstained. The draft resolution, which was co-written by the United States and Albania, is now expected to be taken up by the 193 members UN General Assembly.
Of developments in Ukraine. We urge that all efforts are made for the immediate. India is deeply disturbed by the recent turn of developments in Ukraine. We urge that all efforts are made for the immediate cessation of violence and hostilities. No solution can ever be arrived at the cost of human lives. We are also deeply concerned about the welfare and security of the Indian community, including a large number of Indian students in Ukraine. The contemporary global order has been built on the UN Charter, international law, and respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states. All member states need to honor these principles in finding a constructive way forward. Dialogue is the only answer to settling differences and disputes, however daunting that may appear at this moment. It is a matter of regret that the path of diplomacy was
4 Air India flights, 3 to the Romania capital of Bucharest and 1 to Hungary capital Budapest, operated over Friday and Saturday to fly back Indians who are being taken there by a road from Ukraine. The move to evacuate Indians through the western borders of Ukraine follows assurance from President Putin to Prime Minister Narendra Modi that Russian forces have been instructed to ensure their safety. The timing will be decided as the evacuees reaches the Eastern European capitals. According to sources, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will review the situation in a meeting of the Cabinet Committee of Security on Saturday. These flights, chartered by the government which is bearing the course, mark the resumption of evacuation of nearly 16,000 Indians stranded in war-torn Ukraine by Friday evening. 200 Indians from western Ukraine had been taken to Romania through Suchova border, crossing Indian embassies in Kiev. Tweeted that more than 470 students will exit Ukraine and enter Romania through the Porobny-Siret border, and efforts were underway to relocate Indians coming from the hinterland. The Indian embassies in Ukraine in the letter statement has advised all Indian citizens stationed at Ukraine to not move to any of the border posts without prior coordination with the Government of India officials at border posts and the emergency numbers of the embassies of India, Kiev. As border checkpoints are sensitive at the moment, and embassies is continuously working with the neighboring countries for coordination evacuation of Indian citizens. The Indian embassies has also notified that it has been difficult to help those Indian nationals who have reached border checkpoint without prior information. The United States is in discussion with India over its position on the Russian invasion of Ukraine, as New Delhi has yet to clearly condemn Moscow assault. Meanwhile, on Thursday, when asked about the issue by a reporter, President Joe Biden admitted that we haven't resolved it completely. Notably, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called for an immediate cessation of violence in telephone talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday. However, Prime Minister Modi did not explicitly condemn Moscow military operation. India has historically had close ties with Russia, and Moscow is a major supplier of arms to the South Asian nation. Meanwhile, on Friday, India abstained during a UN Security Council vote over a resolution stating that the group of countries deplores in the strongest term Russia's aggression against Ukraine, and which would have demanded the immediate withdrawal of its troops. Notably, the Biden administration is particularly keen to breathe new life into the so-called diplomatic Quad: Australia, India, Japan, and the United States to blunt China's expanding power in the region. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has turned down the offer by the U.S. government to evacuate the country as invading Russia forces close in on Kyiv on Saturday. After the U.S. asked the Ukrainian president to leave his country, and upbeat Zelensky said, "The fight is here. I need ammunition, not a right." Notably, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was asked to evacuate Kyiv with the help of the U.S. government, but turned down the offer. A report from Associated Press said, in the meanwhile, invading Russia forces closed in on Ukraine capital on Saturday, in an apparent encircling movement after a barrage of airstrike on cities and military bases around the country. Notably, the Ukraine army had repelled a Russian attack on one of Kyiv's main avenues. The development took place as Russia vetoed a draft UN Security Council resolution that would have deplored Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. U.S. President Joe Biden on Friday authorized a sanction of $350 million to Ukraine for procurement of defense equipment in imparting military training and education. It may be mentioned that the authorization was also given to the Secretary of State to sanction up to $250 million in assistance. Notably, the aggregate assistance to Ukraine by the U.S. is to the tune of $600 million. Earlier, Biden unveiled harsh new sanctions on Russia meant to punish the country for its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, calling out Russia President Vladimir Putin for his aggression, even as he acknowledged it would take time for the new measures to alter Putin's behavior. The new sanctions include export blocks on technology, a centerpiece of Biden's approach that he said would severely limit Russia's ability to advance its military and aerospace sector. He also applied a sanction on Russian banks and corrupt billionaires and their families who are close to the Kremlin.
Additional strong sanctions and new limitations on what can be exported to Russia. This is going to impose severe cost on the Russian economy, both immediately and over time. We have purposely designed these sanctions to maximize the long-term impact on Russia and to minimize the impact on the United States and our allies. And I want to be clear, the United States is not doing this alone. For months, we've been building a coalition of partners representing well more than half the global economy. 27 members of the European Union, including France, Germany, Italy, as well as the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and many others, to amplify the joint impact of our response. I just spoke with the G7 leaders this morning, and we're in full and total agreement. We will limit Russia's ability to do business in dollars, euros, pounds, and yen. We're going to stunt the ability to finance and grow the Russian military. We're going to impose major, and we're going to impair their ability to compete in high-tech 21st century economy. We've already seen the impact of our actions on Russia's currency and the
Ukraine posthumously honored a group of Ukrainian border guards who were killed defending a tiny island in the Black Sea during a multi-pronged Russia invasion. Ukraine lost contact with its forces on Zimnu or Snake Island, a speck of land south of the port of Odessa on Thursday, after Russia conducted strike from air and sea. According to sources, 13 soldiers were killed during the attack. According to sources, the Russia side said that this is a Russian warship. I propose you lay down your weapons and surrender to avoid bloodshed and unnecessary victims. Otherwise, you will be bombed. However, the Ukrainian troops refused to succumb. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky promised to decorate the deceased border guards. Furthermore, on Friday, Russia Defense Minister said 82 Ukrainian soldiers on the island had surrendered voluntarily. Responding to U.S. sanction announcement made against Russia in reaction to the later invasion of Ukraine, Dmitry Rogozin, head of Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, posted a series of retaliatory tweets. Rogozin tweeted that there was also a chance of a 500-ton structure of the International Space Station dropping on India. Rogozin tweet, among other things, said, "If you block cooperation with the U.S., who will save the ISS from an uncontrolled deorbit and fall into the United States or Europe?" Notably, the ISS built by the US, Russia, Europe, Canada, and Japan has been an example of non-partisan cooperation between countries' space programs and had hosted more than 200 people, including from countries that did not build it. Rogozin, while pointing to U.S. President Joe Biden's statement that their sanctions would affect the Russian space program, Rogozin tweeted that Russia nevertheless continue to make their own spacecraft and we will continue to expand the production of the necessary components and devices at home.
These sanctions to maximize the long-term impact on Russia and to minimize the impact on the United States and our allies. I want to be clear, the United States is not doing this alone. For months, we've been building a coalition of partners representing well more than half the global economy. 27 members of the European Union, including France, Germany, Italy, as well as the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, and many others, to amplify the joint...
Nagaland Home Department on Friday informed that the pre-primary section of school in the states will start offline classes with up to 50% attendance with effect from March 1. The notification further informed that the attendance of any student for the physical offline classes would be with parental consent only. It also informed that hostels for pre-primary section, if any school, will remain closed. It further mentioned that reopening of any school would be subjected to all the teachers and non-teaching staff of the school. Concerned of being fully vaccinated, taken both the doses against COVID-19. If not vaccinated, the person concerned should have been tested negative for COVID-19 through either RT-PCR or TrueNet or CBNet once in every 15 days. The notification also stated that reopening of school would be subjected to adherence to all the provisions of the Standing Operation Procedure (SOP) on the preventive measures to contain the spread of COVID-19 for physical offline classes in the pre-primary section. Meanwhile, the order also directed school to immediately inform the nearest medical facility, hospital, clinic, or call the state or district helpline in case any student, teachers, or any personnel related to the school develop symptoms. The notification also stated that reopening of school would be subjected to adherence to all the provision of the Standing Operating Procedure (SOP) on the preventive measures to contain the spread of COVID-19 for physical offline classes in the pre-primary section. Online training of emergency preparedness exercise was held at Makachung District Planning Conference held on Friday. Notably, DDMA members led by Deputy Commissioner and Chairman of DDMA Makachung Lima Wabang Jamir attended the meeting. Nagaland on Friday witnessed a dip in COVID-19 cases by reporting a total of 5 cases with the active cases standing at 139. Notably, Dimapur reported a maximum with 3 cases followed by Kohima with 2 cases respectively. Furthermore, the state cumulative recoveries have increased to 33,024 while the death toll remained unchanged at 750 with no fatalities in the last 24 hours. Nagaland on Friday witnessed a dip in COVID-19 cases by reporting a total of 5 cases with the active cases standing at 139. Notably, Dimapur reported a maximum with 3 cases followed by Kohima with 2 cases respectively. Furthermore, the state cumulative recoveries have increased to 33,024 while the death toll remained unchanged at 750 with no fatalities in the last 24 hours. The Mizoram unit BJP on Friday submitted a memorandum to State Government Dr. Hari Babu Kambapati, urging him to impose a precedent rule due to the alleged lawlessness in the states under the Mizo National Front government headed by Chief Minister Zoramtanga. Notably, MNF is a member of BJP-led Northeast Democratic Alliance and an ally of the National Democratic Alliance at the center, but the party does not work with the BJP in Mizoram. In its memorandum, the BJP alleged that there was a total absence of good governance in the states, resulting in misuse of public money through unfair means. The memorandum said there was rampant corruption at every level of administration, where ministers and high officials of the states are suspected to be involved in various dubious business deals. President Ramnath Kovind on his day 2 of visiting Assam addressed the 19th convocation of Tezpur University in Sonitpur district, notably after which he is slated to visit the Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve and take a jeep safari at the Bagori range. During his 2-day stay in the park, he will view a photo and archival exhibition on conservation there. Besides discussing various government initiatives to protect the FAM forest, after spending the night at the Assam Police Guest House in Kaziranga National Park on Saturday night, Kovind and his family will take an elephant safari on Sunday morning. Earlier on Friday, he launched the 400th birth anniversary celebration of legendary Ahom General Lachit Borphukan, while he also launched the beautification and repair work of Lachit Borphukan burial ground at Tiok in Jorhat district.
The central government has decided to establish a digital university to provide access to students across the country for world-class quality, universal education with personalized learning experience at the doorsteps of students. The digital university will provide education in different Indian languages and ICT formats. Tezpur University can become an active stakeholder in this initiative, especially by providing high-quality digital content in Assamese and other languages of the Northeast. Dear students, the students and faculty of Tezpur University should try to make it a major center of innovation. The university community should provide innovative solutions to local and national problems. For this, community participation and use of local resources should be encouraged. I am happy to know about innovative solutions provided by Tezpur University for reaching safe drinking water to many villages in Assam. The scope of the university's engagement with villages should be further expanded. As a visitor of the institutions of higher education under the central government, I have been encouraging the institutions to promote universities' social responsibility, or USR, on the lines of corporate social responsibility. Engagement of students with rural population is one of the key features of university social responsibility. Tezpur University can adopt some villages for helping in their overall development. The National Education Policy 2020 also seeks to provide pathways for the future in a globalized world while preserving time-honored Indian values like compassion, morality, truth, and good conduct. The motto of this university, Vijnanam Yajnam Tamte, reflects the approach of blending the eternal with the futuristic. The motto, taken from a mantra in the Taittiriya Upanishad, lends itself to different rich interpretations. The university has adopted it to mean specialized knowledge promotes creativity. The mantra in the Upanishad, just after the adopted motto, says, Karmani Tamte Api.
India on Friday reported 11,499 fresh COVID-19 cases, while the active cases stood at 1,21,881, showed the Health Ministry data. Furthermore, a total of 23,598 patients recovered in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative recoveries to 4,22,70,482. As per the Health Ministry data, the national COVID-19 recovery rate now stands at 98.49%. India on Friday reported 11,499 fresh COVID-19 cases, while the active cases stood at 1,21,881, showed the Health Ministry data. Furthermore, a total of 23,598 patients recovered in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative recoveries to 4,22,70,482. As per the Health Ministry data, the national COVID-19 recovery rate now stands at 98.49%. Two pilots have been killed in a chopper crash in Telangana, Nalgonda district on Saturday. The crash took place at Tunga Turthi village of Pedavura block closer to Nagarjuna Sagar Dam on the Krishna River. Meanwhile, the medical team have rushed to the site of the incident. Reportedly, the chopper which crashed is believed to be on a training sortie. It may be mentioned that the aircraft belonged to a private aviation academy of Hyderabad. The details of the disease are awaited. India and Japan is said to conduct the annual joint military exercise Dharma Garjant 2022 from February 27 to March 10 in Balgamt, Karnataka. Meanwhile, Japanese forces arrived at Balgamt on Friday to take part in this exercise. Union's Defense Ministry stated that this exercise with Japan is crucial and significant in terms of security challenges faced by both nations in the backdrop of current global situation. Furthermore, the scope of exercise will cover platoon-level joint training on operations in jungles and semi-urban and urban terrain. Notably, the annual exercise is said to be taking place since 2018. Tokyo Olympic silver medalist Mirabai Chanu won gold at the Singapore International Weightlifting Tournament on Friday and has qualified for Birmingham to Commonwealth Games. Chanu lifted 86 kg in her third attempt and 105 kg in clean and jerk, while Jessica Siwantenko of Australia lifted 167 kg to claim silver, and Ellie Kaskandra Inglebert of Malaysia lifted 165 kg and won bronze. Chanu stated that it was a challenge for her to participate in a new weight category while happy to have qualified for the Commonwealth Games. Meanwhile, Birmingham to CWG is set to be held from July 28 to August 8. Amin Awad of Sudan has been appointed as Assistant Secretary General to serve as United Nations Crisis Coordinator for Ukraine. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres appointed Awad amid the ongoing Ukraine-Russia crisis. Meanwhile, Awad has served in a range of senior roles with the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. Notably, Awad has over 30 years of experience in the field of humanitarian affairs, strategic action, planning and development. This is all for now. For more updates and information, keep watching Nltv.
Nltv, Sop Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 10 in Global Chapter, and for Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us